Tonight, a win for Port Augusta residents affected by dust from traffic heading to the Bangala solar farm project. And a bumper grain season for the Yorke Peninsula, but why a statewide drop in production?
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Port Augusta residents affected by dust from the construction of the Bangala solar farm are rejoicing at a plan to redirect traffic. The company will now deliver the construction materials by rail instead of using the problematic dirt road.
This is the dust stirred from just one truck passing along this dirt road, and for Port Augusta resident Rick Shine, even indoors is no escape.
You do suffer a little bit from inhaling the dust, and it's more so inhaling the dust that when you're inside from the air conditioner, bring it inside and you sort of choke up with it when it's really thick. Deliveries
to the Bangala solar farm site via the corrugated, dusty Depot Creek Road can happen up to 50 times a day.
Progress takes place in our region. It's good that it does, but it's a hard one for them to get on top of.
After the Port Augusta Council raised the alarm last month, the Transport Department says the company will now use the nearby Lee Creek railway line instead. Planning Minister John Rao told Southern Cross News the move will reduce the amount of trucks using the road and the dust.
Yeah, there have been dust issues. Council's trying to mitigate where it can with that. It's written the EPA and waiting response. We've been speaking to DIPTI regularly.
Council is now warning residents to be aware of trains on the once inactive line.
A friendly reminder to everybody that road crossing will be active, so please obey the signs, stop, wait and check there's nothing approaching you because we don't want any incidents.
This message of safety comes after a man died at the Bangala solar farm site last weekend during a construction accident. SafeWork SA has since revealed a part became dislodged from a hydraulic pile driver striking the man. The investigation is still continuing. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Police are looking for a man who exposed himself to an elderly woman in Broken Hill. The 90-year-old woman heard a knock at her door of her O'Neill Street home around 9:30 on Saturday morning. She was expecting a nurse at the time and yelled out for the person to come in. He's described as Aboriginal appearance and was wearing a black and white Guernsey at the time. Anyone with information is urged to come forward. A man has been airlifted to the Royal Adelaide Hospital after being hit by a car in Risdon Park. Emergency crews were called to the intersection of Senate and Clark Streets early yesterday morning after the pedestrian was struck while trying to cross the road. It's believed the injuries to his head are non-life threatening. Police are appealing with anyone with information to come forward. Port Lincoln Police are asking for the public's help to track down a stolen motorbike. Officers believe the blue Yamaha 250cc bike with registration S61BCU was taken from inside school grounds on Mortlock Terrace sometime on Friday. It was parked and padlocked by a chain through the back wheel at the time. Anyone with information is asked to come forward. The Yorke Peninsula has come out on top when it comes to grain production. Viterra sites in Wallaroo, Port Giles and Ardrossan recorded some of the highest yields over the past year.
Grain is one of South Australia's staple commodities, and it seems the Yorke Peninsula is becoming the state's production hotspot. Wallaroo continues to be the busiest site in the state. The Ardrossan lentil crop was also bigger than expected.
Wallaroo 476,000, Port Giles 457 and Ardrossan 361,000.
Sites across the YP managed to break the daily records.
Port Giles received 20,500 tonnes on their best day and Ardrossan 22,600 on their best day.
Viterra is putting it down to a new 40-metre long road train which helped improve turnaround time from farm to silo.
Really demonstrating that growers have got a larger capacity to deliver, and we're building up our infrastructure so we've got capacity to receive sort of larger volumes per day every year.
Last year's sporadic weather conditions are believed to have contributed to this achievement, with crops around the Port Giles area performing a lot better than usual.
Rainfall at the right time of the year to let that crop develop to its full potential. The Port Giles site was very close to last year's record of 520,000, so the season ended up pretty well down there.
But this year's harvest proved to be challenging, with the statewide total down from last year.
The whole state was 5.6 million tonnes received.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
The Royal Flying Doctor Service will soon see 2 new aircraft join its fleet across the company's southeast service area. A pair of Beechcraft King Air B350 cargo heavyweight planes will boost the area's fleet up to 20 aircraft. They'll be based in Broken Hill, with the first plane expected to be delivered in the coming months.
This is fantastic news for Broken Hill and the surrounding communities. The latest version of the most advanced aeromedical aircraft that we can operate in Australia. So all around, it's a better way to deliver more healthcare where we need it.
The B350s will be able to carry up to 9 primary healthcare clinicians. Still to come tonight, a popular tourism operator on the Eyre Peninsula recognised on the national stage. That's next. The new CEO of the New South Wales Trustee and Guardian has issued an important reminder to Broken Hill residents. He says it's vital to have an up-to-date will, and today used his visit to the town to get his in check.
You might be shocked to know less than 50% of people in New South Wales have a will, and only half of those have one that's up to date.
But any change in your family circumstances or buying new property or any significant change to your overall estate is a pretty good trigger to think about whether you should update your will.
And today the new chief of the state's Trustee and Guardian office did just that. Mr Dent used his time at the Broken Hill office today to update his own will after recently buying some property and moving house. He says it's those little changes in your life that can have a big impact.
If you have an informal will or you don't have an up-to-date will at the time that you pass, that can create lots of complications for your family.
In some cases, wills can be rendered invalid. Those matters are then referred to the courts, leading to lengthy legal processes for aggrieving relatives.
We want you to have the security to know that your will and preferences will be able to be executed at the time that you pass.
You can start the process by going online to the Trustee and Guardian website or visiting the local office. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
In some good news for property investors, Port Augusta has been labelled as a regional hub for property growth in 2018. A research firm has listed Port Augusta among Gawler, Port Lincoln, Onkaparinga and Mount Gambier as having a positive 3-year outlook. Port Augusta recorded the biggest house price growth over the last year at 22.5%, the average house now selling for just over $200,000. Researchers say multiple renewable energy and mining projects has helped contribute to the significant boost. Following the success of mural art in the region, the state Labor government says if re-elected, it'll fund more. It's pledging a $500,000 regional street art fund to install artwork on buildings and silos in regional towns. Even Port Augusta's year-old bridge mural is proving to be a drawcard.
I come for a walk every day down this way, and I always see people there from overseas and that.
Premier Jay Weatherall says visually stunning pieces of artwork like the Canalpin and Kimber silos boost tourism and helps locals to celebrate the region. Port Lincoln's Calypso Star Charters has been recognised nationally at the Australian Tourism Awards. The shark diving operator received a silver award for Best Tourism Attraction, continuing to cement Port Lincoln as a premium destination for holidaymakers.
We know Port Lincoln is one of the state's tourism hotspots, and there's one operator that thrill seekers keep coming back for.
15 years in and every day still a new day.
Calypso Star Charters has been at the forefront of adventure tours and continues to be recognised on the national stage. Director Andrew Wright says it's a win for the entire region.
The stronger the tourism industry in Port Lincoln, the stronger our business is going to become. So we're always out there to try to do our bit to get more recognition and more exposure for the town and the region.
As well as taking home silver, it also managed to secure a bronze gong for adventure tourism. The national spotlight helping push the region's international potential.
Increasing number of Chinese visitors. I mean, the UK and Europe is certainly still our strongest market. Over the last couple of years, though, the big increase has been the American market.
Australia's shark diving industry is worth $25 million annually, with Port Lincoln taking a big chunk of the pie, even when the sharks aren't biting.
Lots of sightings of bronze whalers, couple of sightings of mako sharks. Sharks, but yeah, the Great Whites have been a little bit quiet, which is not unusual for this time of year.
As one of Port Lincoln's biggest tourism employers, Andrew says it's great to see the local economy begin to thrive.
It's not just me that puts in the hard yards. We've got up to about 25 staff behind us to make sure it all happens.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
After the break, the Crystal Brook Women's Football League kicks off in the region. Details next. Well, organisers are overwhelmed at the turnout for the first ever Silverton Sunsets Music Festival at the weekend. Some incredible performances from a raft of country music stars kept the crowd entertained all night long.
It was a weekend full of Stetsons, boots and bevies. The Silverton Sunsets Music Festival cementing itself as a major event in the Outback after hundreds of people converged on the Silverton Hotel on Saturday night. The event kicked off on Friday, but Saturday was the main attraction. From midday through to midnight, country music artists from around the country took to the stage, performing to a stellar crowd.
I can't ask for a better turnout, I can't ask for a better atmosphere, I can't ask for a better vibe, you know, like the crowd was amazing. Like, I didn't think that many people would show up.
A screen out on the street was on offer for those wanting a more relaxed festival experience, but a spare seat couldn't be spotted when John Williamson picked up his guitar, banging out classics like True Blue and Old Man Emu.
Big old boy, but I'm telling you, bring her on the pants, so they can go on there.
I'm very impressed with the hotel and what they've done. And obviously every year they're going to be doing a bit more, so they're very hard workers out here. And I wish it all a success, yeah.
And Adam Harvey kept the crowd delighted with his performance, featuring a comedy routine that had everyone laughing.
Mate, I've loved it. They've treated us like royalty here. They look after us like silkworms, and the crowd have been fantastic. And you get thousands of people here, and they're all here to share country music and enjoy the night and have a great time, and it's a wonderful thing.
Organisers say there's a good chance the Sunsets Festival will be back in 2019.
We brought people out here to show off the area and they were impressed.
In Silverton, Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
The Crystal Brook Women's Football League has bounced off for the first time. It's hoped the new sporting group will encourage more girls to get out and have a go.
Friday night footy kicking off with the very first under-16s all-female match.
We're playing Lions, and I think all the girls are really pumped to be out here, and we're all really excited. Hopefully we win.
The dream of playing competitive footy now a reality for girls of all ages across the Mid-North.
We're really inspired to play football, and it's part of Australia and part of our identity.
We have 6 teams, and the girls come as far as Port Augusta, Peterborough, Port Pirie, Crystal Brook and surrounding districts.
The senior team stood out with a high number of players.
4 teams registered. It was going to be 9 a side. I think we're now building up to 12 a side.
The carnival will be played every Friday night for 4 weeks, with hopes it'll inspire local female players to strive for greatness and play at a higher level.
I guess a network through which our local girls can find their way towards perhaps Adelaide and perhaps some future opportunities in the AFL Women's League.
They've been waiting for something like this. I think that just the AFL competition has just really got the interest growing.
Aussie Rules needs to do is to provide that opportunity for both genders.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
To local cricket now, and there was plenty happening across the leagues, including the grand final of the Henderson Cup. Jason Kemp joins us now with the latest. Jace, it didn't go quite to plan for Port Lincoln.
No, not at all, Fraser. Far West travelled down to face Port Lincoln in the Henderson Shield final. Port Lincoln won the toss and went into bat, but a bottom order collapse proved too costly in the end. Lincoln opened with a stutter, Ben Smith gone for just 4 runs, Arthur and Reedy managing only 23 together, before Craig nicked 1 3 to Williams for his first of 3 wickets. It was 2 players from Tasman who were forced to steady the ship, Matt Dyer and Andrew Frick managing a 53-run partnership before Dyer was sent back to the shed Frick going not long after. The bottom order was sent in ahead of schedule and failed to wag, managing just 7 runs between them. Port Lincoln all out for 127. A similar story unfolded for Far West, losing its opener to a single run, but a match-winning 80-run partnership by Smart and Cloden helped the visiting side cruise to a 2-wicket victory, Far West taking out the Henderson Shield. In the other matches, Tasman defeated Lincoln South to cement its position in the top 4, and Todd River had a comfortable win over Charlton. Heading over to Port Pirie, Wanderer went down by 6 wickets to Proprietary, and Solomon Town defeated Southport. Corn defeated South Augusta in the prelim final to face Centrals in the grand final this week. Over in Whyalla, Central defeated Rupina, while South had a horrid day against North, managing just 54 runs. In Broken Hill, Centrals defeated South by 3 wickets, while North defeated West. And finally, on the York Peninsula, Moonta easily defeated Ardrossan to move into this week's prelim final, where they'll face Parsketville, who will cash in their second chance after losing to Uluru. So there you have it, Fraser, some cracking games from around the regions, and over the next few weeks we'll cover all the latest grand final action.
Thank you, Jace. Jason Kemp in Port Lincoln there. Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details with Amy Stevenson. And Amy, are the milder temperatures here to stay?
They are indeed, with temperatures remaining relatively cooler compared to the extreme heat we saw earlier in the month. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. It was a sunny day in Port Augusta, 31 at the top there. Whyalla reached only 28, while it was cooler again in Port Lincoln with a top of 25, while temperatures continued to hover in the high 20s and low 30s in all other centres. Checking the satellite now, and the cloud cover across the southeastern part of the state will bring a few showers and cool onshore winds. A cold front over the southwest is staying mostly dry, while skies are clearer in the north. If you're planning on spending some time on the waters tomorrow, there will be a southwesterly winds up to 25 knots. Seas will reach 1.5 metres and the sun will pop up at 7:04. Taking a look at tomorrow's conditions, and it'll be a warmer 38 in Port Augusta, while Whyalla will also hover in the mid-30s. Woodna and Corn will also creep into the high 30s, while Port Lincoln can expect a top of 33. Meanwhile, Broken Hill will reach 34, with temperatures hovering in the mid to high 30s in all other districts. Looking further into the week, and a cool change is on the way, with 23 on Wednesday and 24 on Thursday in Port Lincoln. Temperatures will drop into the low 20s in Cleve before 29 on Friday, while it will remain warmer in Woodna with tops of 32 on Friday. Further up the Gulf, and Whyalla will reach 26 on Thursday before creeping back into the 30s. Port Augusta will reach 38 on Tuesday before a cooler 31 later in the week, with similar conditions in Kadina into the weekend. Those in Port Pirie can expect temperatures in the low to mid-30s, while Clare will hover in the high 20s before 31 on Friday. However, Broken Hill will stay relatively warmer in the mid-30s early in the week before a top of 30 on Thursday. So Fraser, it'll be a slightly milder last week of summer around the Spencer Gulf.
A welcome change indeed. Great news. Thanks, Amy. A look at tonight's top stories now. Port Augusta residents affected by dust from the construction of the Bangala solar farm are rejoicing at a plan to redirect traffic. It comes as Safe Work SA reveals a part dislodged from the mast of a hydraulic pile driver was the cause behind a workplace incident which killed a worker on the site just over a week ago. The York Peninsula has come out on top when it comes to grain production. Viterra sites in Wallaroo, Port Giles and Ardrossan recorded some of the highest yields over the past year. And organisers have been overwhelmed at the turnout for the first ever Silverton Sunsets Music Festival at the weekend. Some incredible performances from a raft of country music stars kept the crowd entertained all night long. And that's Southern Cross News for this Monday. Thanks for your company. We'll have some updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.